What does it mean now to be authentic? What does it mean to be genuine when we're living in a world with social media and a world where we seem to only put our best selves out there? This week I put up a post on Facebook that wasn't my best day, and it was only a few days after I put up a post that living my best life, and I want to talk about that on today's podcast. I'm Steven Webb, and this is Stillness in the Storms, the podcast that helps you to see life a little bit different, and especially our own lives a little bit different. Gives us a little more calmness in life. Just before I start, I just want to give you a little bit of an update. I'm still the mayor of Truro, and I'm not doing so many meditations and mindfulness online at the moment on my page on Facebook, but I am still available. I'm still got the other podcast, Inner Peace and Meditations. You could search for it, and I could put a link to it below this podcast. And you can still download my book, 5 Simple Practices for Inner Peace, from my website, stephenwebb.uk. And if you want, you could buy me a coffee. That would be awesome. Thank you. I want to talk about authenticity, and it's something that I'm working on myself. It's something I read in a book a few years ago about being authentic. And I really didn't recognize it at the time. And I was like, well, of course I'm authentic. I'm genuine. But the more I realized that the more I understand it, the more I realize I'm not. And the more I try to be. And I certainly think during my teenage years, when I thought I was genuinely authentic, I always remember my mum looking up and saying, you're not who you were 3 months ago. I don't recognize who you've become. And I used to think, what do you mean? I'm still the same person. Well, of course, she probably meant my stroppy teenage years and the stress and all that I probably put her under. And boy, did I put her through a lot of stress. I was the typical teenager. But yeah, I've always thought I was authentic. I always thought I was genuine. If anybody said anything else, I would be really triggered by it. And I remember at one point someone texted me and they said, do you know what? You really manipulate people. I was like, oh my God, I was so devastated. The fact that, no, not me. I'm not a manipulator. Well, I in actual fact, whenever it triggers us, whenever it really gets to us, we got to look at ourselves and go, there's something here. And it took me about 2-3 years before I read about the helper on the Enneagram. And I'm a type 2. So mine is the helper. And I'll put a link below this podcast to take a free test on the Enneagram. There's 9 types, and we're at any point in time in our lives, we're one of those 9 types with a little bit of a wing of the other types. We're not normally so in the box, but I'm really in the box of helper. And one thing I love about the Enneagrams, they're not like star signs or anything like that. They're not like when you were born and all. They're actually based on questions of how you would deal with life situation. So it actually is a real personality trait, and it can change in life. You might be a type 1 during your teens, and you might be a type 7 later in life. It depends on how you see life and how you're reacting to life at that point. But going back to somebody saying to me I was a manipulator, boy, did that pee me off. I think I text back like, you what? How dare you call me that? I was so angry. But I found out one of the traits of the helper is they're manipulators. They do things for people to help manipulate them into you being able to help them more. They may buy you gifts, and it may come from a genuine place of an open heart. It may come from a genuine place of wanting to help them. But it's still about self-serving in some way. And it's about us making ourselves feel good. Because, we do everything for ourselves. Let's get that out there as well. This may have some controversy here. But we do everything for ourselves. And even when Gandhi was asked, at some point he was walking many miles and he had a large group behind him, and somebody came over to him and said, you do so much for other people. You help so many people. Why do you do it? And he replied with, for myself. And it was very much, really? I thought you'd done it for them. And he said, well, yes, but it makes me feel good. I very much feel like that now, whether or not it's just me realizing it. But, I do things for myself. And if it makes me feel good, then it feels like the right thing to do. If it doesn't feel good, I'm going in the wrong direction. So if someone points out something like I'm a manipulator, I may be using it as a force for bad or something, but I'm using it in the wrong way. And of course, there is good manipulation as well. I'm going slightly off topic here. This is what I get when I don't script my podcast. But I want to talk about authenticity and, being genuine. Because I think we all believe we're genuine. I don't doubt that. I don't think anybody believes they're fake. But when we look at social media, when we look at our Twitters, and when we look at, I'm a politician, whether I like it or not, whether I admit to it or not, well, just admit to it. Being chair of Truro City Council at the moment for the year, I'm a politician, and in part of that, we bring a certain something to the council. And I'd like to think that I bring my authenticity. Not always. You cannot always say what you're really thinking, because it may not go down too well. And people go, well, perhaps you should say what you're thinking. Well, maybe. Some of the things I think just would not go down too well. And I think, we do need to have filters on what we say. I think the wisest person is the one that doesn't say much. I talk way too much. Here I am sitting here doing a podcast. So what does it mean to be authentic? I think in today's modern age with social media and all that, being authentic is having a balance of what you share. And, I'm paralysed. I'm going through some real health issues at the moment with my sweating. And it's a really cold, horrible sweat. It's not a warm sweat. So I'm really freezing cold all the time. It's getting to me. I'm on painkillers all the time, so I feel tired. I've just started my diabetic injections on a Monday, and that's whacking my eating pattern right out. It's like as if I just ate a brick every time I eat. And all these things are, and they're under medical review. We're getting an MRI scan and things like that. And so I'm not sharing that for sympathy or anything. I'm just saying that's what's going on in my life. But then I go out and I take pictures with the litter pickers, which are doing an incredible job in Truro. I've got to go back and think of somewhere rewarding them because, I don't know, like 30 litter pickers picked up something like 50 bin bags of rubbish over the few days. Incredible job. But I go out and I take pictures and people see that on Facebook. And I went out to the Fisherman Friends in the Holford Cornwall the other day and had such an amazing evening. I met the Fisherman Friends. I met Sir Tim Rice. And I put up the hashtag living my best life. And I am. In the overall scheme of things, I am living my best possible life. It is awesome. Right now I'm having the most amazing experience. But not every day, every hour. And when I put up that I'm living my best life and doing all these amazing things, it makes people in positions like me, like are paralysed or something like that, or somebody that has problems, look up and go, well, wait a minute. How is he doing all that? Is he not suffering? Well, if I didn't share the days I suffer and the days when it takes 2 hours to get me out of bed because literally, I'm trying to think of a delicate way of saying this, but literally, I'll just say it. I'm talking about authenticity, when literally I don't stop going to the toilet and it's like a mess, a nightmare. And I feel ill and I feel cold, and the carers have literally got to clear me up several times and several pairs of jeans. And that happens probably once a month, and it's an absolute bloody nightmare for everybody. If I didn't share the bad days, I wouldn't be being honest. And people would compare their lives with me and go, well, it must be easy for him. He mustn't have problems. And then they go, well, what's wrong with me? You know, I'm not as paralyzed as him and I can't do what he's doing. Well, you know, maybe through tough times I've grown some muscles. I don't know. Maybe I just I don't know, in all fairness, and I think that's the genuine answer to it. But I think it's just important that we share a lot more about our lives, the ups and downs. We don't want to share all the negativity. You know, I don't believe in all this. Oh, think negative, all happy, you know, be positive. Let's ignore all negative people. Let's all be positive and think happy. I done that. I used to lecture to people. All you got to do is think positive. Sorry, that's BS. You know, don't dump all negative people, because then if someone's dragging you down and you're not in a place to be able to deal with them, say, look, I'm going through a tough time. I'm going to have to take a rain check at the moment, but I'm not dumping on you. It's just I'm not in a place to be able to deal with it at the moment either, and I love you still. So I get it. But sometimes it's our children, sometimes it's our parents or our best friends that are going through a negative time. And I wouldn't want to dump on them and get rid of them out of our lives. And some of the most positive and happiest people, I know how quickly they hit rock bottom when things go wrong. You know that person that's always happy. Yeah, my life's just wonderful and amazing. And, you know, I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And then you phone them up 2 weeks later and they go, I can't talk. I'm sat next to the sofa and I'm rocking forward and back and my head's between my knees and I've got to close the curtains and I can't deal with life. And then 2 days later, they're like, no, all good. I'm sorted now again. That's, you know, share a bit of that. Let's show everybody the human condition sucks. The human condition isn't always rosy. And I shared that on my page and I got a lot of sympathy and I got a lot of people loving me and caring about me. And I love that. And I wouldn't be authentic if I didn't tell you I did not enjoy that. Of course I enjoyed that. Of course I put up the post for a bit of attention. I've still got that voice inside of me that likes attention. I've got the ego the size of a house. Yeah, my ego is huge. I wouldn't be a politician. I wouldn't be doing what I do if I didn't have a huge ego. But I'm aware of the ego and I'm aware of how fragile it is and how frustrating it can be for others. So how do we be authentic? How do you be authentic? It's not an easy one, because you don't want to share every single day if you're struggling most of the time. But you want to share some of it. And you want to share the good times. And you don't have to do it on Facebook. But you can phone a friend and go, do you know what, I'm struggling? You know, let's not just share the good times. Let's not share the highlight rolls. Because that's not real life. I don't know anybody that's living the whole life of what their Facebook shows. And that's okay, because we kind of know it. But we then judge it, don't we? We look at other people's Facebook threads and go, well, look at their pictures. They look way younger than me. And I'm like, yeah, it's the filter on that. How do you know? Well, I use them. No, I don't. I don't know. I might do. My phone might do it. I don't know. I know when I take a picture and I look at it in a portrait mode, I go, oh my God, do I look like that? That's not that bad for nearly 50. But anyway, I think phones have just got better at making us look better. But that's my podcast this week. It's just, I wanted to share my thoughts on authenticity. And I'm interested in your thoughts on authenticity. You know, email me. Email at stevenwebb.com. That's Steven with a V. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts on this podcast. You can contact me. Head over to stevenwebb.uk. On there, you can download my 5 simple practices for inner peace. You can donate a coffee. Or, in actual fact, I don't say donate a coffee. I say buy me a book. Because I'm back into reading books. I haven't been reading books for a while. And I'm reading the current book. The Art of Zen and Saving the Planet or something by Thich Nhat Hanh. Amazing book. I'm not 33% into it yet, and anybody that knows me, I'm a 33% reader. I tend to read all my books to about the 1/3 and struggling now. Anyway, yeah, going back, head over to stephenwebb.uk. You can download my 5 simple practices for inner peace. You can listen to my other podcast, the Inner Peace Meditations. You can listen to other episodes of this podcast, and you could email me. That would be awesome. And if you're listening on iTunes, I'm asking you a lot to do a lot, aren't I? You know, it'd be amazing if you could help me. Leave a review on iTunes. That'd be amazing. And just drop me an email at stephenwebb.com. Let me know your thoughts. Do you think you're being authentic? Do you think I'm being authentic? Call me out on it. If you don't think I'm being authentic, call me out on it, please. And all I'll tell you is I'm working on it. Some days I do better than others. Take care, guys. I love you, and thank you for listening this far. This is Stillness in the Storms. Hopefully helping you to see life a little different. Take care. Namaste.